Hey guys, it's Rich here from Newbie Prepping. I'm sorry about the clickbaity title, but it is something that I actually want to talk about. I'm going to split this video into two parts. The first part is going to be the fact part. It's all anecdotal evidence, but it is all true. And then the second part is going to be the opinions. Okay, so as people who've watched our videos may know, I work in a shop in my little town. And the shop I work in has been extremely quiet ever since the what is essentially a lockdown. And what's been happening now is a lot of the fast food restaurants and stuff have been opening up around us. The shop I work in and all the fast food restaurants are like really close to each other, like literally on the same street, so we can all see out to them. I've seen that they've become so busy, loads of people waiting outside. I know for a fact that in one of them they had to turn off the phones because they were getting inundated with phone calls with orders, which caused more people to come out of their homes to come and wait outside the shop to order their food. I can understand why they wanted to do it because obviously we've been in lockdown for a couple of weeks now. Just a couple of weeks, and they've been missing their fast food so much that they wanted to come out and get it, and that's exactly what they're doing. The problem there is that I've observed no social distancing or anything. Everyone is just queuing up maniacally trying to get their fast food as quickly as they can because, oh man, they've missed it so much. Heaven forbid they've had to live on their own food that they've cooked themselves. I can't moan about these people. I like fast food too. But you see what I mean. You see what the point I'm getting at. Also, another thing that I want to point out is my wife and I went to a shop recently, and the shop was had really good COVID-19 countermeasures. They had distancing cones for people queuing outside. They were only letting in a certain amount of people, so it was one in, one out. But the problem is, when we were waiting in the queue, we saw a car pull up in the car park, and then out of it came about five, I don't know, they must have been like 20-year-olds or something like that. No older than that. And they were all like laughing and giggling. Clearly they were laughing at the fact that there was a queue waiting to get in. And when my wife and I eventually got into the shop, we saw them at the meat counter or whatever it is that they were purchasing. So obviously what had happened was, so this shop has two entrances. Back entrance with all of the queuing and everything. And then a front entrance which was open, which had no sort of queuing whatsoever. And this shop, there was no sort of divide or whatever. It's literally one whole shop, but with two doors. So what was the point in having the countermeasures at one side if all you had to do was just walk around to the front and just enter through there? So it just completely nullified all of the countermeasures that were put in place. And also the fact that these people were all together in the first place. Obviously, they're not all brothers or whatever. They had all met up with the intention of going out. Just going outside together, which completely goes against the rules that we've been given. I don't know about rules, guidelines more like. So that's 4.5 minutes in, and that is the point that I'm trying to make here. The thing that we need to worry about most with this coronavirus outbreak is, and the essential lockdown in the UK is the fact that people are ignoring it now. It's becoming a bigger and bigger issue. It says, I've heard on the radio and whatever, that people are saying that the spread is slowing down, but people are getting more and more complacent with the rules. It's not just the public, it's the business owners. Obviously they've got some sort of reason. Maybe they need that regular source of income. They want to help their staff or whatever. So they're opening these places up for a few hours at a time. But what it's doing is it's encouraging people to come out of their homes and forget the social distancing rules because they're all so desperate to get this fast food. And when you've already got people ignoring it and going out, and then you've got people who may not be ignoring it but going out anyway, and even though they might normally social distance, they probably think like, waiting in line for some fast food, it might not be too bad. That sets a bad example for the rest of the public who are thinking, well, if they're going out, then why can't I? And it's going to snowball like that. The more and more people happy with just going out, more and more people are going to think, well, if they're going out, then I should be allowed to go out too. And that's just the facts. That's going to be the end of the facts section because that's obviously what's happening at the moment. And now I'm going to go on to the opinion section. The two things that I think we should be worried about in this scenario of the coronavirus outbreak. Okay, so in my opinion, there are two eventualities that can come out of this. One is more likely than the other, and a bit more obvious than the other as well. The first one is the coronavirus spread will speed back up again. This should be obvious to everyone, but I guess it's really not to some people. The more and more people get close again and start interacting again and start going outside again, as I've seen with my own eyes, and I'm only in a small town, remember, it's probably even worse in the big towns and the big cities. It's simply going to spread, and it's unacceptable in all honesty, because as much as people want to deny it, the virus is real. My sister is a nurse and she deals with it all the time. She's not some government-funded person telling everyone that it's real when it's actually not. No. That's going to be the main thing that's going to happen again. The second one is going to be a worst-case scenario, and hopefully it doesn't happen. And remember, this is only my opinion. So the government are going to notice everyone going out again, and they're going to say, oh, well, everyone is ignoring the rules and the regulations that we put in place to help protect them. So instead of this being essentially a lockdown, we're going to make it an actual lockdown. And they're going to bring out the forces, be whether they are the police or whether they are the military, depending on how much they need, in order to keep us safe from ourselves. And as I've said a lot of time before, the West, they do not like being told what to do. As evidenced by the fact that everyone is going outside now against the government rules and recommendations. So what is going to happen is the government they're going to enforce a harsher lockdown, and the people are going to push back. The people who don't like being told what to do, they're going to start posting on Facebook or Twitter, on any social media. Oh, this is what they wanted all along. Oh, they wanted the government wanted to control us like this from the start. When in actuality, it's only through these people's actions that they would have even decided to bring out their forces in the first place. I swear sometimes these people just want the government to take control of us just so that they can say, ha, I told you so, I told you so. And honestly, that eventuality is the thing that we've got to prep for the most. Because as we know, in any shit hit the fan situation, civil unrest, which is anything from protesting to looting to rioting to worse than rioting, that sort of civil unrest is as big as, if not worse than, the problem that caused the civil unrest in the first place. Because honestly, there's nothing more dangerous than a human being, especially a desperate one and an angry one. Again, this is only my opinion, but that is the main thing that we've got to be prepping for. I'm not saying that it's more dangerous than the virus. I'm just saying that it's definitely something to think about as preppers, and that goes for people who've been prepping all their life, and people who are newbie preppers that might be watching this video wanting to get into prepping. But yeah, I honestly believe that is the main thing that we should be worried about. Because honestly, the virus itself, yes, be worried about it, but all we have to do is stay inside, and eventually that will stop the spread, and anyone who has got it can be treated. Obviously no new people will get the virus, because obviously it won't be spread to them. But if people keep on going out, then the chain of events, I honestly believe, will lead to civil unrest, and that would be your bug out situation. That would be when you would need to bug out. Because as we've always said, a pandemic, which this is a bug in situation. But civil unrest, I would say if it's not happening in your town, then probably not worth bugging out, but definitely worth keeping an eye on. Because if civil unrest did happen in your town, then that would be the time to bug out, because you don't want to be part of that, and you don't know how far it's going to spread, and you don't know what people are going to do. So yeah, just want to bring this up. There's a link right here to a YouTube video showing the civil unrest that's happening in Italy right now. And a lot of people are saying that Italy is actually a few weeks ahead of the UK in terms of timeline. Really, what we should be doing is seeing what's happening in Italy and taking steps to avoid it. The complacency that I said about before, that everyone's, most of the Joe public seems to be doing. That complacency means that obviously they're not caring about what's going on in the world. They're not heeding any warnings. They're bored, so they just are going out, and that's what they're doing. But anyway, that ends the opinion section of the video. Just a few bits and pieces to think about there. That's all I want. That's all I want to get across from this video. I'm not trying to scare anyone. I'm just trying to say that this is why we prep. And honestly, the situation could be getting better, but it also could be getting worse as well. So that's why we prepare, though. Always be prepared. That's what the scouts say. Anyway, thank you very much for watching the video, and we'll see you again in another video. Okay? See you again. Bye-bye.